The audio, video, and all other media materials aired on this broadcast station do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the management of Forever Rhema Radio Broadcasting or its parent company, its affiliates, and or the staff of these entities. Please direct all correspondence to the appropriate company's website and or business address.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Forever Rhema Broadcast. This is J.D. Taylor with Balanced Life. Today is a good day, an awesome day. This is the day that God made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. I want to continue to talk about maintaining mental stability. I'm going to kind of review it from last week and then move on to the next topic. During the week, I have talked to friends, co-workers, people I've met, and do you know, everybody is pretty much, I wouldn't say so much as complaining, but they're concerned about the things that are going on in their families. And it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. Jewish, it doesn't matter. Everybody is going through something when it comes to the family. Mental stability. What are some of the major problems in the family? We talked about that. And how can we avoid them? They definitely can be avoided. Families today face a range of challenges that stems from social, economic, technology, and emotional pressure. When it comes to media, that's the one thing that causes a problem, can cause a problem, has caused a problem. And I've seen it firsthand on what social media can do to a person. That has become a great problem, not only in individual families, but when it comes to the school, when it comes to the workplace, all over. What are some of the problems we're facing today? And I'm just going to, I went into detail before, but I'm just going to bring out the topics. I want you to, if you have a pad, pencil, jot these topics down and come together as a family to talk about these particular issues that maybe you're going through, maybe you're about to go through, maybe you've gone through and overcome. You're going to come in contact with somebody that's going through what you're going through or about to go through, and you're there to help them through it. It doesn't matter if it's family member, coworker, or friend. We're all in this together, because whether or not, even though it may start in our individual family, it can branch out into our personal lives, our individual personal lives. When it comes to the adults at the workplace, the children at school, communication is the best thing in the world. To communicate, knowing how to communicate, and learning how to communicate properly where there's no miscommunication. The number one problem is finances. Whether when it comes to the high cost of living, job insecurity, debt, child care expensive if you have small children and you have to pay for child care, housing instability, putting pressure on the household, whether you're having to pay rent or pay a house note, that can become a problem. How do you deal with it? What is the conflict? It lessens time spent with family. It causes conflict between your partner. You got to be on one accord regardless of what it is, and it also can cause health issues, high blood pressure, not being mentally stable, not being able to concentrate. Some people, when they're depressed, they eat a lot. Some people, when they're depressed, they don't eat at all. So that causes a problem. We need to learn how to balance life work. Balance life work. If there's an imbalance in your work life, what that is parents working these long hours, especially if it's a single parent and you work in long hours and you have children at home, and uh, they could be at an age where they can come home by themselves and fix something for themselves or whatever, or they may be underage, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, where they need someone there. Maybe they'll go to a neighbor, or maybe you have a sitter or an aunt or uncle or older sister, brother, or friend that can pick them up and keep them until you get off. But still, that child is noticing mom and dad, because there are some some dads that are single parents, and you got to do what you got to do. We know that as parents. I was a single parent after divorce, and I had to do what I had to do. And back then, I had to work those shifts, 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. And there's sometimes I had to leave my girls at home when I worked 11 to 7 shift, 11 at night until 7 in the morning. But in spite of, regardless, always put God first and pray and ask for protection and guidance and direction. When it comes to mental stability in the family, it's all centered around prayer and unity. Prayer and unity. You got to be on one accord in whatever you do. You got to be able to sit down and talk about the problem. If there's a 2-parent household, you got to be on one accord. One can't be pulling in one direction and the other one in another direction. You got to come together. You got to come together, because children watch that. And if they sense or see where there's a problem, they may not know exactly what the problem is, but they know there's an issue because mom and dad is having this heated conversation or whatever. Try not have those kind of conversations around your children. If so, let them see you come to a common ground, or agree to disagree, or say, you know what, you're right, I was wrong, or maybe we need to revisit this. Let's calm down and let's just go our separate way right now. Let me go on and fix dinner, and you go and do what you got to do, and later we'll come back and revisit this so we can either agree to disagree or come to a common ground. When your children see that, then they'll know how to handle situations that they come in contact with, whether it's at school, whether it's as they grow up in their adult life, interacting with their friends, interacting with other adults. They have to see you respect each other in order to know what respect looks like. They have to know to respect themselves so they can receive respect, demand respect, because you can't demand what you don't give. The mental health struggle, like I was saying, it causes anxiety, depression, burnout. When you see this taking part in your family, in you as an individual, being burnout, your depression, your anxiety has kicked up a notch. It causes miscommunication and withdrawal. It causes irritability. It causes a breakdown in the family function. You want to make sure that you are healthy in your mind yourself, that you are healthy as an individual, that you sit down with yourself and come to a common ground, positive thinking. Find out, okay, how can I alleviate, eliminate what I'm going through? How can I make this better? Where I'm good, not only for myself, but good for my children, good for my husband, where I can communicate and spend time and not feel distant from them. We got to first take care of self before we can take care of anybody else. Because if you're always out there trying to do for everybody else and forgetting yourself, then what happens if you have a heart attack or a stroke or just a breakdown, a mental total breakdown? Then what good are you to any of those people in your life, any of those loved ones that's counting on you, that's depending on you to just be there when they need you? You've got to take care first, self first. That's first and foremost. Boy, media, the technology, overuse of technology, your phones, social media, games, streaming, disrupted communication. All that disrupts communication. You don't have time to talk to anybody because you're constantly doing this or doing this or reading or looking on the. It just, oh my gosh, that bothers me so much to see someone. I can't communicate with certain people. My goodness, I can't even communicate with my own family members sometimes with them in their cell phones. Like, oh my goodness. But that's where we are today. If you notice, it reduces face-to-face contact, face-to-face interaction, increase comparison and insecurities, and it lessens quality time. It lessens quality time. What kind of quality time can you spend when the person you're with is constantly on their phone, constantly talking? I know some men talk on the phone more than a woman ever could. They're always on the phone. And if they're not on the phone, they're watching TV, the football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever their fancy is. And the majority of men love that football. Sometimes they'd rather be in front of the TV watching football than to communicate with you or spend time with you, quality time. And that's okay. I'm not saying, when I say that's okay, it's okay if you love football and you want to see the game. But at the same time, there's a time before the game come on And there's a time when the game go off. Don't sit there and watch the game. Now you didn't spend quality time before, but then you're gonna sit there and watch the game, and then after the game, then you go to bed instead of spending time with family. That's one thing you need to come together on. I know you love the game. I don't have a problem with you watching the game, but we need to set time where it's just me and you, or it's me, you, and the kids. You've got to come to that conclusion. You've got to come to an agreement on that. Parenting challenges, disagreements over discipline and inconsistent rules, and lack of guidance due to time constraints. Again, that goes back to not spending time with your significant other, your spouse. Spend that time where you're communicating, especially if you have kids, where you communicate what are you going to do about the kids, their discipline. You got to be on one accord. One can't say yes and the other one say no, or one say no and then the other one say, well, I don't think you should, and especially don't correct that person, that mother or that father. If they say no, don't correct them in front of the children. Don't do that. Let it do its thing, and then afterwards say, you know what, I told them earlier that they couldn't do that. So I think you need to go and correct that, because I already told them they couldn't go. But then they know you're the soft heart. They're gonna come to you, and then you say yes and think it's gonna fly. And then you never know. They may say, oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea. I never would have went over your head, and or uh, said something that you were against, or did something that you were against when it's coming to the children. And then you regroup and let them know, like, okay, if you come to me and I say no, it's no. When you go to your father, it's still no. Because when you go to your father, then they need to say, well, did you ask your mother? Now, for one thing, you better tell the truth and say, yes, well, what did your mother say? Well, she said no, but then it's no. Or what did your dad say? Well, he said no, then it's no. If you feel different, then tell them, well, let your daddy and I are going to talk about it, and then we'll get back with you on that. It's easy. It's easy when you're on one accord. When you're on one accord. And that's so, so important. Relationship or marital issues. Lack of communication, unsolved conflicts, emotional distance. And that's pretty much what I was talking about when it comes to arguments, resentment, or divorce. Children feeling insecure and caught in the middle. We don't want our children caught in the middle of anything, especially adult mess. They shouldn't be a part of that. Even though whatever you decide is going to affect them, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, it's going to affect them. But still, they don't have to be in on everything every conflict that you have. Some things have to be done in quietness, behind closed doors, when it's just you and that person, where you either come to an agreement, agree to disagree, or come to a common ground where, you know what, I can't do this. Maybe it's best that come to an understanding, then sit the children down and talk to them together. Explain to them, because if not, and mom just walk out with the kids, or dad just walk out and leave the mom and the kids and then you got a child there thinking that they did something wrong. The reason you left. I've heard that so many times from men and women. You know, my dad left. I thought that I was bad. I thought that he didn't love me because I was bad, because I got in trouble, or because, whatever. Same thing with, with daughters. And you don't want them going through life thinking that it's their fault that you and the mother or you and the father couldn't get along or came to a common understanding that it's not going to work. And it has nothing to do with them. And once that happened, in order for them to stay mentally stable, safe, secure, make sure that you come to an understanding that you're going to co-parent in the positive, co-parent with love, co-parent with communication. You've already come to the conclusion that this relationship is not going to work, but we can go our separate ways, but we still have these children that we have to raise. And it should not, under any circumstances, cause a break in that. That should always continue, but continue with respect and communication among the parents. Sometime family family problems can cause social isolation, which means you don't have you don't have time for neighbors, you don't have time for other families. You just stuck in your own little rut, and it's all about me and what's going on in my family. I ain't got time for anybody else. So you isolate the whole family from everybody else, and you're going through your problems all by yourself, along with your significant other, your husband, your wife. You don't have to communicate. And true enough, your business is your business. You don't need to let everybody in your business, but I know it's somebody in your life that you feel comfortable enough and spiritual enough that you can go to, that you can talk to, that's going to be able to tell you if you're right and if you're wrong. They're not going to be on anybody's side but the right side. And that's what you want. I want somebody to tell me the truth. If I'm wrong, say I'm wrong. And I appreciate that. There's got to be somebody in your life, a God-fearing male or female in your life, that can come to you with the word, can come to you with positiveness, can come to you in love and tell you, I'm not on your side and I'm not on his side. I'm on God's side. I'm on the neutral side. And from what you're telling me, you were wrong. Or what you're telling me, he was wrong. And be able to, you want somebody that's going to say, okay, as you're telling them what's going on, and they can tell you, wait, hold, stop right there. Let's pray. Before you go any further, let's pray. See, that's what you want in your life. That's the kind of friend you want in your life. That's the kind of relative you want in your life. You want somebody that's going to go to the battlefield with you and go to the battlefield without you. You know they're going to be praying for you and not on you or against you. So you can't tell everybody what's going on with you and with your family. But just know that you know that you know the person that God has put in your life is in your life for a reason. Especially when you know that you can go to that person, whatever you tell them, it's going to stay right there between you and them. That's what you want in your life. And not just females, a male men need to have someone like that in their life. Of course, some men don't talk all over their mouth like that. And I know some, they mouth run like water. You can't tell them nothing. They can't see nothing. They can't hear nothing because they gonna go tell it. And oh my goodness, to me, that's the worst that could ever happen to anybody is to have a man that runs his mouth worse than a woman. Even we can hold some things, but social isolation, lack of time together, lack of time together. It's hard to spend time when your schedule is packed. All the time within the day is filled up with something. You got every moment of the day filled up with something that has nothing to do with the family. You have school activities, work demands, technical distractions or tech distractions. How do you sort that out? How do you space it? What type of time management do you have when it comes to that? You got to find some time, like, okay, now school activities. Now you have children that have after school meetings or cheerleading team or football team, basketball team, whatever it is, that's okay, because that's your child building a future for themselves. That basketball player could be in your family, your son could be another NBA, part of the NBA. Who knows? Same thing with your daughter. It see what they love, see what they're good at, and work around that. If they have afternoon schedule, if your work demands a certain amount of your time, um, it's all about time management where nobody is lacking the time that they need with you and with the family. It when you don't have control of that, it weakens the emotional connection. um there's miscommunication, and you find everybody's drifting apart doing their own thing and not communicating, not expressing. Be specific when it comes to miscommunication and you want your child to do something. Be specific. If you say clean your room, then at some given time, you have got to explain to them, when I say clean up your room, that means vacuum, that means organize everything in your room, put up everything. I don't want anything dirty. I want in the hamper anything clean that's on your bed or in your chair that came from the dryer. Fold it up, put it in the drawer. Be specific, because if you just say clean up your room, then that's picking up stuff off the floor and putting it aside. That's not clean up your room. That ain't even making up your bed. I can remember my my daughter telling me, I said, how come you don't make up your bed? Well, I'm getting back in it, but that's not until tonight. Her thing is, why make up a bed when you're going to get right back in it? Girl, please. To her, it just don't make sense. And I get it. When she said it, is, and you think about it, it's like, okay. But when I get out of bed, I turn around and make it up before I even brush my teeth, go anywhere. As soon as I get up, I turn around and I start making it up. My mom told me, she said, always keep your bedroom clean. It's not that people are welcome in your bedroom or everybody's going to come in your bedroom, but you never know when you leave home, you never know how you're going to come back. If you get sick at work and somebody have to bring you home, and they have to bring, or you go to the hospital and somebody have to bring you, and it don't have to be family. It could be a coworker, it could be a friend, it could be a neighbor that has never been in your house, but you have to go. You went to the emergency room, there was nobody there, your neighbor followed you home, they were able to discharge you, and the neighbor's bringing you back home, and you got to go to bed. So they bring you in the house and they take you to your bedroom, and it looks like a hurricane just went through it. What does that say about you? That's your bedroom. That's where you sleep. That's where all of you is in your bedroom. That says a lot about what's going on up in here. Now, if I'm wrong, hey, 713-570-9040. Feel free. Write that number down whenever you're listening to this broadcast, and I say something that you want to chime in on, or even correct me. Call that number, 713-570-9040. I welcome it, because this is all about conversation. This is all about moving forward and coming together in unity and being on one accord across the board. Across the board. We got to improve communication. We got to set healthy boundaries, especially technology. We got to set boundaries for technology. Create a zone. No cell phones at the table. No cell phones after a certain time. Whatever, you got to set boundaries, because once you set those boundaries, then it enables you as a family to come together. Because don't you realize the young people that are out there today have no social skills at all? None whatsoever. And I'm in the job that I have, the teaching job that I have, these students, they don't realize, but once they get out into the field, the medical field, they're going to be communicating with doctors, nurses, directors, administrators. They're going to be communicating with people that they normally don't communicate with on a daily basis, on a professional level. I told them, once you walk into the medical facility, whether it's a hospital, doctor's office, clinic, surgery center, whatever it is, the language change. They no longer talk in layman terms, they talk in medical terminology terms. And that's how life is. We need to prepare our children at home for life, because you want them to see love. Matter of fact, you want them to see anger, but how we cope with anger, how we come together in a positive way. That it's okay to be angry. It's okay not to agree, but we need to learn how to agree to disagree, because everybody's not going to feel the same way you feel. Everyone's not going to do certain things the way you do it about certain situations. And we got to understand that our children need to know everybody out there is not nice. Everybody out there don't care how you feel. I remember one time um, someone asked me, I got to work and was walking down the hall, and one of the instructors asked me, Miss Taylor, how you doing this morning? I said, oh, this morning's kind of rough. And they didn't say yay or nay or what. They just kept on walking, didn't say, pass right on by me and kept on walking. Why even ask me how I'm doing? And if I tell you that it's not good, I may not explain to you what I meant by that, but at least ask, well, Miss Taylor, what's wrong? Because normally you happy go lucky when you come to what's the problem? You okay? Then if you don't want to know, really know what's going on with somebody, don't ask them how you doing. Because they just might tell you. Mm. Prioritize mental health. Prioritize your mental health. Talk about your emotions. Talk about what's going on with your spouse, with your, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, whatever is bothering you mentally, physically, emotionally, you need to communicate with, because if that person is in your life and you know they're the right person in your life, because there are some situations in some relationships, I wouldn't tell them nothing going on with me, even though I'm in a relationship with them. Especially when you know that person has not shown you the type of love you need, the type of communication you need, the kind of respect you need, then they don't deserve to know everything about you. You need to think about that. Create work life balance routines. Establish boundaries between work and home. Okay? Leave work at work, leave home at home. Don't bring home to work and don't take work home. In some situations, some circumstances, you may have to bring some stuff home. But if that's the case, then set a balance and a boundary on when you do it. Don't let that you brought home take time away from you spending with your family or your children or your wife or your husband. I find most women will bring their work home quicker than a man will bring his home. And if that's the case, set it aside, make it a time for itself, but don't let it interfere with the routine that you have established with your family. If you had established boundaries and a routine, a day-to-day routine on how you deal with your family, then hey, come on. Don't let that work that you brought home interfere with that. Strengthen. We need to strengthen our parenting strategies. Agree consistent rules and discipline methods. Spend one-on-one time with each child. If you have 5, if you have 10 kids, each one of them have to have your undivided attention. Each one, because each one has a different personality. You can't treat all your children the same. I have 2, and they are like night and day, like total night and day. I can't treat them the same. I can't even communicate with them the same. But they both have my unconditional love. They have that agape love. I don't distinguish that. One don't have more than the other. You got to set an example and spend that one-on-one time with each of your children. Praise positive behavior, not just correct negative behavior. I know your children do something right. They're not all wrong. So compliment them. That's just like even on the job. You go to work every day and you work hard. You're good at what you do. But nobody ever come and pat you on the back and say, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate," or even give you a ink pen that they bought, or a little tiny plaque or a little tiny pen to say, "Hey, number one secretary, number one instructor, number one manager, director, whatever you are," to let you know that what you're doing and the time that you put in and the commitment that you have is being seen and it's being appreciated. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody in life wants to be appreciated. I don't care who you are, what you are. You want to be appreciated. And just because you're a child don't mean they don't want to be appreciated. They do. Build a support network. Make sure you build a support network. Connect with neighbors, community groups, and faith communities. Your church. If you don't have a community group, then you can put together a community group where you can come together. All the neighbors can come together at a certain time, and you can talk about what to do about the community, what to do about our children. If you see my child doing something crazy and something they ain't supposed to do, give me a call. This is my work number. Every neighbor in that community should have a book with home number and work number. So whatever is going on, whatever is going down, call me. Because I do not have a problem leaving work if I have to. It takes a village to raise a child. Accept help when it's offered. If somebody offered to help, accept it. But at the same time now, look at who's offering the help. Because some people may offer to help, just want to get in your business. So just because somebody offers to help, don't necessarily mean you got to accept that help. Nah. You just don't want to do that. Okay? Before I close on that, I just want to say that God cares about family, the people to whom we are related. We were chosen by God. Even when our family is dysfunctional, it is important to get together as a family. There are so many dysfunctional families in this world. Nobody's exempt from dysfunction. It's all in how you deal with your dysfunction. How you deal with it as a family. How do you deal with it as an individual? Because a dysfunctional family started out with a dysfunctional individual. And then you got two individuals come together, and then those individuals have kids. And if you haven't come to terms with your dysfunction, then your dysfunction attaches to those kids. Then they become dysfunctional. So we got to work on that. When it comes to my family and every family represented on this broadcast and beyond, I bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. I bless his holy name, because God is not a God that he should lie, nor son of man that he should repent. Whatever he said he's going to do for us, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of our family. Bind us together in love, patience, and understanding, Lord. Help us to speak kindly, to forgive quickly, and to support one another in every season. Lord, when disagreement arises, give us humble hearts and gentle words. Father, let your peace reign in our homes. And may unity be the foundation, Lord, that strengthens each of us every day. Keep us close to you and close to each other. In this, Father, I pray in the name of Jesus. I say to you, as I always say, no matter the situation, circumstance, problems, it may be above your pay grade, but it's not above your prayer grade. Love you.